Good morning, dear students. Welcome for the third lecture of the transportation. Let us have a short recap of previous lecture. In previous lecture, I taught you about transportation in animals. Okay. In this point, we studied how specialized system is present in the animals for transportation of the blood and also the other materials, needful materials are transported by the transportation system present in the animal. And the very most important transportation system in human being is blood circulatory system. Blood is circulated all over the body and it supplies the needful thing to the body, for example oxygen and nutrients and various other organic matter to all over the part of the body, and also it helps to remove the waste out of the body by carrying them with the blood, and it is removed from the body when it is supplied to the excretory system of the body. Then we studied composition of the blood. Composition of the blood in the sense which components are present in the blood, what is the role of that components, and what is the concentration of such components, that we have studied in composition of blood. After that, I told you about blood cells or blood corpuscles. Blood cells are of types and they are also called as corpuscles. And each and every type of blood cell have its own different role, specific role. And which are the types of the blood cells? First is red blood cell, second white blood, and platelets. Platelets also called as thrombocytes. Okay, so this part we have studied in last lecture. Now in this lecture, the next point that we are going to study is blood clotting. Generally, you know that whenever you're playing, doing any work or any activity, physical activity, suppose you get injured while performing that activity, what happens? Due to injury, it starts bleeding. Okay, from the wound, blood starts coming out. So, for that moment, what happens? After 2 minutes, you observe that automatically the blood flow is decreasing from the injury and ultimately it stops. So how this magic happens? It is because of blood clotting and the blood clotting factors present in the blood. That blood clotting factors clot the blood at the site of injury and the blood flow stops. Okay, so blood forms a clot at the site of injury and thus prevents further loss of blood. So it prevents further loss of blood and it saves our life, because if the blood flow remains continue, bleeding keeps on going continue, what can happen? The person can lose all the blood from the body and he can die. So it is very important that blood must clot after the injury. At the site of injury, the blood vessels, the platelets, induce blood clotting through the blood protein fibrin. Fibrin is a blood protein which triggers the reaction which forms the network of protein fibrin. Okay, and that network of fibrin entangles, means it catch all the platelets in that network and it forms a protective wall, and because of that it blocks the blood flow outside. In this way, blood clotting is done in human being and also in other organisms. There is a somewhat similar mechanism with certain changes. Blood platelets form plug or a clot over the injured area. Blood clotting is usually completed within 2 to 3 minutes. So after the injury, within 2 to 3 minutes, you can see blood clotting occurs. Next is blood groups. Yes, so this is also a very important part to study, that which type of blood groups occur in human being. Blood group is a life-saving fluid. It is often needed during accident and operation. The transfusion of blood is only done when blood group is known. What it means? Whenever any patient needs the blood, because maybe there is a deficiency or lacking of the blood production in his body, so he needs the blood to be transfused. Or if any of the person made an accident and in accident he lost more amount of blood from the body, in that situation also he needs blood to be transfused from outside. So in that case, one important thing is to know the blood group. Without knowing blood group of any patient, we cannot transfuse the blood to him from anyone. Okay, so what is this actually? There are type of blood groups in human being, and each and every human being have the type of blood group. Okay, but majorly there are 4 blood groups: A, B, AB and O. So from this 4, any blood group can occur to any individual. So it is needed to be first of all identified, and then we can transfuse the blood. So which are the groups? A blood group, B blood group, O blood group and AB blood group. These are the 4 type of blood groups occur in human being. It can donate blood to any group. Okay, but what is the thing needed to be known is blood group. Now the next important concept about the blood group is blood of O group is universal donor. Blood of O group is universal donor, means O blood group can donate blood to any other blood group available today, present today or identified today. Let me tell you once again. O blood group is universal donor. O blood group can donate blood to A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group. But while receiving, O can receive only from O blood group. Okay, none any other. Only O blood group he can receive from. Next, AB group is a universal recipient, means AB blood group can receive blood from A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group and O. Okay, it can receive from. It can receive blood from any of these groups, but can donate to AB group only. So AB blood group is donated to only AB, but AB can receive from any of AB, ABO. So that is the concept. It is called as universal recipient. It can receive the blood from all blood groups, but it can donate the blood to only AB group only. So that's the magic of blood groups. We have one blood group, that is universal donor, and one we have universal acceptor. Next concept, blood vessels is the important part of the circulatory system. Blood flows through a system of tubes called blood vessels. There are three kinds of blood vessels in human being. First is artery. Arteries have thick and muscular wall. They carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the body organs. Okay, artery have thick muscular wall. They carry oxygenated blood from heart to all body organs. But there is another type of artery, it is called as pulmonary artery, carry deoxygenated blood from right auricle to lung. So this is the opposite function of the artery, okay, because artery always carry oxygenated blood, but pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood from right auricle to lungs for oxygenation. Here you can see the image of artery. The wall of the artery is thick and the lumen of the artery is so narrow. Lumen means it's the empty space inside the artery. Okay, it's the hollow space, empty space inside the tube is called as lumen, and it is very narrow, means it is very short, very less space is available in the artery. And there are three walls or three coverings are present in the wall of artery, that is intima, media and adventitia. Intima, media, adventitia. These are the three layers of artery. So the wall of artery is thick. The force of heart pumping keeps the blood flowing through arteries. Okay, due to narrow space in the artery and the pumping action of the heart, it keeps on circulating the blood to every cell of the body. The blood in arteries is bright red in color because it contains a lot of oxygen. Okay, so whenever blood is carrying oxygen, it forms a complex that is called as oxyhemoglobin, is bright red in color. Okay, oxygen bind with hemoglobin and that forms oxyhemoglobin. In arteries, blood flow with jerks and under great force. Whatever the blood is flowing through the arteries, it is flowing with jerks and under great force. We can feel the blood flow in radial artery on the inner side of the wrist. Yeah, this place is used for checking the pulse. You can feel the blood flow inner side of the wrist. Pulse is throbbing movement in the radial artery. It is caused due to flow of blood under pressure due to the pumping of heart. Pulse rate represents the number of heartbeat per minute. So what is actually a pulse rate? Pulse rate represents number of heartbeat per time. And what is the actual pulse rate? pulse rate in a healthy person at rest ranges between 72 to 80 times per minute. So what is the actual normal pulse rate in the human being? Well developed adult human being is 72 to 80 is the normal pulse rate. Next point, veins. Veins bring blood from body organ to the heart. They have thin walls. The valve present inside the vein make the blood to flow only towards the heart. Okay. Veins have blood valves. Okay, blood vessel valves are present in the vein. Why? Because they transfer the blood from body to heart. So it prevents the backflow of the impure blood to the body. The flow of blood in vein is not jerky and the blood is deoxygenated. Okay, blood is deoxygenated. The flow of blood in veins is not jerky and the blood is deoxygenated. So it is all opposite of artery. Blood is not flowing through the pores and whatever the blood is carried by the vein is all deoxygenated blood. They join and rejoin to form large veins that open into the right auricle of heart. Okay, when it is coming towards the heart, all the veins they join together, they form a bigger vein and it joins the heart and carries the deoxygenated blood to the heart, and then it is sent to the lungs for oxygenation, mixing oxygen into it. So this is the difference between the artery and the vein. Okay, here you can compare easily what is the difference in the artery and the vein. This is artery, this is a vein. There are three layers for both artery and vein, but the wall of the artery is thick. As you can see over here, wall of the artery is thick and wall of the vein is thin than the artery. Then lumen of artery is narrow and lumen of the vein is bigger than the artery. Okay, and the outer wall, you can see outer wall is thinner. The overall three layers of the vein are thin than the artery. So this is the difference between the artery and vein. Next point, capillaries. Capillaries are the finest blood vessels. They are very fine hair-like blood vessels. They connect arteries with veins. The capillaries have very thin walls. They are made up of very thin wall and it is made up of single layer. Capillaries, where these join with the artery, supply food and oxygen to the cell. So when capillaries are connected with the artery and the organ, it supplies the food and oxygen to the organ. And when capillaries are joined to the organ and vein, then it removes the waste from the organ and it is removed from the body. The capillaries at the end where these join with the vein collect carbon dioxide and waste from the cell and carry the blood to veins. Here you can see comparison in between artery, vein, and this is the capillary. Okay. Already the difference between artery and vein I told you. Artery have thick wall vein have thin wall. Artery have narrow lumen, vein have bigger lumen. Okay, but if in case of capillary, it is again different from artery and vein. It is very thin, it is hair like, made up of very thin wall, and it is single layered. The wall is single layered. Endothelial cells are present in the wall of capillary, and they are very thin. And why they are very thin? Because to reach to the tissue and supply the blood to the tissue, because artery and vein, they are big and cells are very small, so to properly supply the blood to the tissue, capillaries are useful. Actual difference in artery and vein. First I'll read for artery. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Artery always carry the blood away from the heart. In the arteries, blood flow with jerk and high pressure. It flows with the jerk and high pressure. They always carry oxygen-rich blood. Arteries always carry oxygen-rich blood. Valves are absent in the artery. There is no any valves in the arteries. Simply it flows the blood. It simply circulates the blood. They have elastic, thick, and muscular wall. Okay. They have elastic, thick, and muscular wall. So it is all about the artery. Now I'll read for vein. Vein carry blood towards the heart. Always from body to heart, blood is transported by the vein. In veins, blood flows very smoothly with low pressure. They always carry carbon dioxide rich blood. What they carry? They always carry carbon dioxide rich blood. Valves are present. Yes, here I can say valves are present in the vein, and these valves prevent the backflow of impure blood back to the body. They have no elastic, thin, and fibrous walls like artery. So, non-elastic, thin, and fibrous walls are seen in the vein. Thank you.